This is part two of this lesson that I did on part one about concerning of a title that I just did for part one. Now I'm continuing with part two. The reason why I stopped part one because I had a phone call. I had to take care of something right quick. So now I'm back with this sit down lesson of the title is going to be again. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, right? Because, like I was mentioning before in part one of the lesson, you're gonna have these militia groups and different types of groups that's for gun rights, you know, and then you're gonna have protesters about it as well too. And these political groups, political figures, they're gonna have views to come with type of bills to pass, for background checks and et cetera, et cetera, you know. So, and there's gonna be a more division between both sides, the liberal side and the conservative side. So yeah, that's why I brought out the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 25. And a house be divided against itself, and how can it stand, right? Because, it doesn't matter what president get in the White House, you're gonna have senators and Congress. They still gonna be divided, you know. They still gonna be divided on certain things. So it doesn't matter what president get in the White House. If it's Trump, if it's Trump for 2024, and currently with Biden, because a lot of people are not liking what Joe Biden and his Biden administration doing. And they for sure, for certain, not gonna like what Trump, if he get in the White House in 2024, if he runs again, for the White House being president of 2024, which is 2 more years away, you know, it's still gonna be that division of both sides on the conservative side and the liberal side as well too. And there's gonna be more of these agendas of the order out of chaos. So they try to take citizens' weapons and stuff like that, like bans on assault rifles, on the bans of a lot of things that stop preventing more potential, mass shootings, which is currently going on here in North America right now. So it's going to be that division between both the political leaders on the liberal side and the right side. Then you're going to have the citizens of the militia groups of these American patriots. You know, mostly them are Edomites, the Idumeans. You're going to have them divided with the NRA. They're going to be divided on both sides with the conservative side and the liberal side as well too. You're gonna have people that's anti-gun laws, anti-gun bans, and pro-gun rights, which is the American patriots of this country. And so you're gonna have continual division on both sides. That's why I brought out the scripture, Mark 3:25. If a house be if a house be divided against itself, how can it stand, right? How can this modern day Babylon stand? And you saying this is the United States? It doesn't look like the United States. It looks like the divided states of America. you know. And that scripture plainly clear. It tells it right there. If a house be divided against itself, how shall it stand? There's not going to be no unite in modern day Babylon. It's going to continue to be more division after division after division against on the liberal side and the conservative side as well too, and many different organization groups as well too. Because you're going to have continual clashes with different types of groups. They don't agree on certain things, And the other ones they're for that policy, and the other ones they against it. They're pro policy against anti policies, you know. So it's gonna be many different things when it comes to that, you know. In those different situations, if it's from an economical standpoint of these different types of laws or decree of laws that's being written by these political leaders and politicians and stuff like that, you know. So it's gonna be more of a continual division between both sides, you know. And these different group factors and organizations as well too is gonna have that division, you know, because you're gonna have one group that's anti-abortion, and then you're gonna have other groups that's pro-abortion, you know. You're gonna have other people that's for equal rights for men and women, and then you're gonna have other groups that's not for equal rights for men and women. You know, you're gonna have the alphabet order, alphabet lifestyle group that support that, and then you're gonna have the anti-alphabetical group, you know, that's against that. You know, so you're gonna see many different things in the last days of, you know, being more division between these different groups and these between these different politicians and political leaders and figures that's in office. You're gonna have more continual of division, because how a nation gonna be divided, how the house can stand, you know, it's gonna be further more and more divisions, and it's gonna be like this around the world as well too, because you're gonna have citizens of those countries going against their political leaders and political figures as well too. You know, going against these certain laws that they pass. You know, and there's gonna be an uproar of the peoples in the world, which you seeing right now. It kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's gonna increase more and more in these last days. You know, this is not only here in the United States of a house being divided against itself. It's going to be that around the world as well too. When it comes to these political leaders and political figures, you know, they're going to have that division between one another. Same thing over there in the UK with the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, you know, and a lot of political leaders doesn't agree with certain things that he comes up with ideas or signing these things into law, you know, and a lot of people of that political groups doesn't necessarily agree with him, you know. So you're gonna have division on both sides, you know. In many different groups, they're gonna have many different groups. They're gonna have their own ways of what laws that should be passed and what type of equal rights for their groups. And other groups is gonna be against it, and the other groups gonna be pro for it, you know. So these are prime and examples of what's to expect. Even you know we so used to these things, it's mostly common, you know, but it's gonna furthermore increase of the more of divisions of different groups in these political platforms, you know. And so with that, this was part 2 of this lesson. Part 1 and part 2. Now this is part 2 that I'm doing. So I hope this lesson was edifying for part 1 and part 2 of the sit down lesson as I mentioned. And once again, I hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rekagadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.